So to the Brown Water Banter podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cates.
That's right. It is Joey Cates, and we got a good show for you, man. First one of 2025 in the studio. We got Austin Powell. We're going to be talking about spearfishing, diving, marlin fishing, all things outdoors, man. I think we might throw some traffic lights in here and some NDOT stuff, so you never know. But before we do that, we want to thank the people that keep the lights on for us over here at the Brown Water Studio, man. You know how we do it. It's 2025, and I don't have a cool catchphrase yet for that, but Dr. Robbie Williams over at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, give them a shout at 228-215-1202. You can book a consultation with them, or you can look them up on the socials at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook and Instagram. Like I say, they're right over there on Washington Avenue in Ocean Springs, man. So go get those pearly whites shined up and tell them that Brown Water sent you. Our buddy Tyler over at Taylor and Cox Law Firm. They've been practicing law on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for over 30 years, man. They specialize in felonies, misdemeanors, DUI, family law, divorce, child custody, you name it. If you need somebody that's going to fight tooth and nail for you, give them a shout. Book a consultation with them. Give them a shout at 228-696-0111. You can also look them up on Facebook as well. Give them a follow. We talked to Tyler, said he's going to get him in here in the next month or so. Talk some law stuff.
Just had dinner with him.
Yeah,
cool cat, man.
Very good guy, man. So if you find yourself in that boat, give him a shout. Tell him Brown Water sent you. Kendrick over at Forever Young Men and Women's Health. It is January 2nd as we record this. No better time to start a New Year's resolution than day 2 of the new year. So if you're trying to get back in the gym, but you don't have that motivation, you're not feeling like you got the energy that you need, go over to Forever Young Men and Women's Health. Let him do some blood work on you, man. He'll draw it up right there in the office. He'll take a look at it. He'll go over it with you, see if you're vitamin deficient, see if you're hormone deficient. He specializes in testosterone replacement for both men and women. We've had Kendrick on the show as well. Go back and look that episode up if you want to hear him break it down with the science of the importance of all this type of stuff. Get back in the gym and prioritize your health for the new year. You can give him a shout to book that consultation at 228-363-6623. And bringing up the rear for us, just about a month and a half away, I would say, is the 2025 Biloxi Boat Show. That's going to be at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. If you've never been to the boat show at the Coliseum, man, it's really cool. They got a ton of boats there from all different types of boat manufacturers, outboard motors. They always mix it up. One year they had campers there. They've got, what else, Joey? Help me. They got like outdoor furniture.
Yeah, it's kayaks. They got all kinds of stuff.
That's right. It's really cool. It's family friendly. It's kid friendly as well. They got a lot of attractions for the kids. So mark it on your calendars and get out there. We'll be out there hanging out. We'll be hosting some events there, some live talks and stuff. So it's going to be a real good time. So go check it out. They have a Facebook page as well. So if you're not familiar, you want some more information, look up Biloxi Boat Show on Facebook. So I got it there. Did I beat you again?
Oh, yeah, it's not even close.
All right.
My finger's going to fall off.
Sweet. So thanks, Austin, for stopping by, sitting through that little rant there that I had to do. But I don't know where we start on this one, man. Joey, we were chatting before we went live. You got a background in fishing, but where do we start? Did it start with film? Is that what you were telling me?
So it started with spearfishing.
Okay.
I would say where it started. So I would say I'll go back to when I was 12 years old. I had $200 I saved up working push mowing, grass, the whole 9 yards. My dad gave me an option when I was 12 that I was going to go buy a PS2. He asked me if I wanted to go get dive certified instead of buying a PlayStation. Right. Most 12-year-olds would have chose the PS2. So anyway, so that kind of at 12 years old, I got scuba certified. Got into spearfishing. I think when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Which almost feels like 20 years ago.
Right.
So, but and, we started diving out of Mississippi. I had an uncle that worked over at Chevron. Him and my dad started talking, said he had some buddies that spearfished, the oil rigs out of here. And just so, to kind of flash forward, that turned into, I got into free diving, I think when I was like 23 years old, give or take. And then the free diving kind of took me to the whole, I would say to a whole nother level, and I think I became a free dive instructor somewhere around like 26, 27 years old. I got into the photography a little bit. So that's kind of when I got into the free diving and stuff, I picked up a camera too. So I got into like underwater photography, which kind of opened up doors to, I did a lot of couch surfing in my 20s, to be honest with you. Underwater, I did. I felt like I could go anywhere in the world and couch surf and probably go spearfishing, take some photos.
Gotcha.
And just kind of how it led into, I would say all of that kind of stuff. So I did that for a good 10 years or so, I would say. So,
Go ahead. Local guy, right? Local guy. Grown up here?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
life?
well, and I did. So I was born and raised, I'd say, right here in Van Cleve, Mississippi. So which
great,
is
greatest place on earth.
Right. I was
God's country.
God's country.
which is kind of funny, small world, you know. So.
Matthew Newton in the comments says he votes Austin for mayor of Van Cleve. So
There it
you already got a right
make a good mayor. So. But I'm not into politics. That's what I can't politic enough to be a mayor. So.
Yeah, that's what we need nowadays. People that ain't into politics.
Locally owned business though here in Van Cleve, right?
Correct,
Still working
correct.
for 'em?
So that's right. So me and my brother and my family have a family-owned traffic signal company here in Van Cleve as well. We've been doing traffic signals for I'd say I think 19 years now. So.
I see your trucks on the road
all the time. I'm sure. Yeah, that's right. Honk at them, give them a good wave. That's what. Look, they're not there to make your lives crazier. I promise you, we're trying to get a job done so we can actually make traffic smooth, like flow smooth.
Right.
But it's actually funny. Traffic signals is what I've like. It's what my dad's done for I think 45 years or so.
Okay.
So it's just kind of. I guess I was born into it.
Right.
This is what you would say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So. And then, you know, which is even funny if you actually want to keep up with traffic signals nowadays. There's a guy that works for me, the traffic light doctor. So, and he kind of goes behind the scenes of traffic lights because there's a lot more to traffic lights than a lot of people give credit for. So.
Yeah.
I
seen
had
this
no
stuff. idea.
Like you can just go over there and he's in the box and switching it and turning it on.
We do. We got special
man.
things in our trucks can turn them green. We got a lot of laptop IT work and stuff. A lot of programming and stuff like that. You know, things that people don't really give credit for. There's a little bit more to it than just times. Now,
right.
That's also only if if people stay on the maintenance side of it. So, but that's what they do work. They do run pretty good, brand new. So it's just after 20 years after, you got to spend a little money on them.
We got some people in the comments. Twitch Williams said he wants that device so he can change the light whenever you hit it.
Yeah, you imagine ride down the road.
Yeah, sell them on the side. Yeah, no, I think that's Josh's brother we were talking about before we went live.
Correct.
I watched this last video and it was on something like that. I think he was debunking some video that somebody made. They were like trying to
traffic remotes and stuff, the Roku remotes and stuff like that. That's same. The whole, like, if you flash your lights at it, it's a myth. It's not that doesn't change the lights correctly like that. It actually, from what I've been told, there's it's some weird like little diamond crystal or something that's in the light that I have that has puts out certain frequencies
that nothing else will do.
Yeah, that's right. It's on a certain frequency that picks up the. I don't really understand it. It's kind of above my head. I just know I install it. Yeah, that's right. It's kind of cut and dry on my end.
So here's something that I've always wondered: the white line. If you pull up on there, is that what changes?
That
it
really it's not. So now it's cameras and stuff. It's cameras and radars and stuff. But so there is that 10, 15 years ago, there's what we call a loop, which is like it actually you cut and lay this copper wire so many times of cool in the ground, it actually creates a magnetic field.
And you break that.
And that's right. When the cars pull into it, which is at the stop bar, we base them. The white bar is the stop bar, and we base the loops around the stop bar. So, but we actually, when your car breaks the magnetic interference, it throws a call into the traffic signal, which turns the light green for you.
Okay. So y'all, they tuned in for fishing, but you're getting traffic.
That's right.
Knowledge to the dome, right?
Who would have known?
We try to cover everything on the show here. You know what I mean?
That's right. Was your dad the one who got y'all into fishing?
I mean, yeah, I would say my dad's an outdoors for sure. So that's what's funny about my dad. He'll tell you now that he's got 3 sons. So, and I'm the youngest boy of 3. So, but my oldest brother, he's into gator hunting and spearfishing a lot more than I am now. That's actually probably a pretty cool person to have on the show one day.
Yeah.
Probably.
He's been on, hasn't he?
No. Deepwater Mafia guys probably had been. I don't think he's been on. Maybe.
No, he was on.
Yeah, when we was in the old studio, I thought for one of those tournaments or something.
Yeah.
Well, probably so. Well, he does.
With Deepwater, I thought.
Well, now you're probably right. So, I mean, because he does. He helps sponsor with so many of these tournaments. I know he helps with y'all and so forth. So he is. So, and then my other brother, he's the hunter. So, he's the whitetail activist and so forth. And then I'm the fisherman, So,
right.
So, and that's what my dad tells you. He's got the best of all best worlds, anytime he wants to go somewhere. So, but he is who would definitely got me into I would camp in outdoor and so forth for sure. So there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it got in your blood early.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I remember, for sure. I remember camping with him at 2 years old, with 3 foot of snow on top of us, and I'm balled up in the sleeping bag with him at nighttime. So
you're this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
I should have got the PlayStation.
He did. He's oh, it's gonna be a full moon. Yeah.
I should have got that PlayStation, man, for sure.
Nice. He's like, where are all those hotels we passed on the way over here? And we're staying in this tent. I don't get it.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy the outdoors.
No,
that's for
no
sure.
doubt. No
So,
doubt.
So you were dive certified by 12, right? Correct.
correct. 12. Yep.
And then just started the photographer, started
Well,
just shooting stuff, or how? What gave
so,
you the
like,
bite?
Shooting fish, man.
Yeah.
I mean, something about slinging steel down the, like when you start going underwater, it is different. Like I said, it's funny I've gotten out of it because I'm not as big of a spearfisher. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into it later with the offshore fish and everything else. But man, there's something about just like when you go below the surface, you can't describe it. I guess so. Like until you actually experience it for yourself. But so like, and there's a thing in freediving we used to say, like, you don't dive down to look out, you dive down to look within. So it was a lot deeper, and that's kind of what I got. Like I really loved the freediving because of the physiology and stuff behind it for sure. That's a true statement. Like when you go down, it's kind of, you know, we live in a very busy world nowadays.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, interconnecting with the, you know, we were talking about this earlier with the, you know, phones, cell phones, Facebook, and all the stuff that I'll thoroughly enjoy. I mean, I use it every day myself, even though I hate it sometimes, but I love it 95% of the time. So, but there's something about when you slide underneath the surface of the water and
It goes silent.
it's silent.
Yeah.
It's silent. You like all you think about is what's in front of me, you know? And so, and of course, you know, that led into the fishing and the spear fishing and so forth, you know, but I took a little bit further than what was in front of me, you know, I kind of came in, I wouldn't say in tuned more with the underwater area. I don't know.
Right.
So, but it is, it's something, it's very peaceful. So even if you don't shoot anything, I got to where like, I just enjoy diving to dive, you know, just to kind of disconnect.
Enjoy the view.
For sure. Disconnect. So, and of course, we live in an awesome area, the fishing. I mean, I think it's underrated, to be honest with you, with the oil rigs and everything in our backyard and the ecosystem that we have, the low pressure here in Mississippi. We actually have awesome, I would say one of the, like, I mean, a lot of people would argue with me, but I mean, I think we have the best fishing in the world. If we don't have the best fishing in the world, the next best, you know? I mean, because I mean, we could argue that Louisiana's pretty good, you know, that's for sure. That's for sure. But I mean, I would say the northern Gulf of Mexico is definitely primed than none anywhere else in the world. And I've had people, I've fished all over the world myself. I've been all over the world. I've talked to people all over the world. I honestly do believe that we have some of the best fishing in the entire world here, for sure.
Yeah, you talk about the Gulf of Mexico.
Northern Gulf of Mexico in general. I mean, like we fall right in the category that Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, Alabama's got some pretty good fishing. I don't want to put them down, you know. But the pressure that once you start getting across that state line, especially into Florida and stuff, the pressure and stuff increases a lot to me. So
they got some crazy laws over there,
and that's true too. I mean, we are a little bit more raw, and of course, we can talk about that in a little while too, maybe. But like, and I'm not against better self-regulation for sure. I don't like more government regulation, but I am a little bit for like conservationists and so forth.
We talked about it on this show a ton of times.
100%. I mean, I would very much. I mean,
it's different than it was in 1960, 1970, 1980.
You killed everything.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm talking about technology and access to fisheries.
It's so much easier nowadays.
Yeah, it's just completely different.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit too with the marlin fishing, because that's a whole nother subject on its own with that when it comes to that.
Could you imagine explaining to your grandpa that you could sit on the couch and look at reefs 60 miles offshore just by doing this?
In high def. I mean, with the strike lines and all these other Seymour maps and stuff, like you could see a fly on a hare's ass, you know, at 1,000 foot if you want to nowadays.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't have that until 2-3 years ago?
Right.
4, 5 tops. So.
Yeah, and I don't see it slowing down either.
No,
especially when we had Kenny in here talking about the old days,
right?
When they used to have to crawl.
When you see these people pull up the maps when they start folding the maps out, and they got the notebooks with the journals and stuff. Like
those are the good captains.
So like I don't know if I've ever heard of Primo Fishing, Mark Miller. For sure. So like he's one of the old, like, to be honest with you, he's probably got some of the oldest records of any type of reefs and stuff around here. That's what that guy's been like. He was surveying reefs back in the 70s here.
Really?
So, for sure. So, been doing it for a very long time, way before anybody else thought it was cool. That's for sure. So,
but now, like you say, they do that scan now, right? And it's kind of hard.
It's almost all public.
$129 a month. You can get everybody's numbers.
Right. You can't hide really.
No, you can't hide.
No.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah,
And them old guys were money.
So did I understand you right though? So you fell in love with the water by regular diving first or free diving first, and then got into fishing?
Yeah, so it was, and then it kind of asked backwards, to be honest with you, compared to most people. I think most people pick up, but yeah, that's right. I mean, I did. So like, I'm not gonna act like I didn't. Like, I caught some bass and brim in my life, you know, growing up, you know, but it wasn't nothing that excited me. It wasn't until I got into the scuba and spearfishing. I scuba spearfish for 5-6 years, you know, and I got nothing against it. It's just it's totally different to compare it. So it would be like the scuba spearfishing versus the free diving spearfishing would be like turkey hunting or I would say bow hunting versus gun hunting.
Yeah,
you know, one's a little bit more primitive than the other.
Right.
You know, there's no right and wrong way. You know, everybody has their own means and methods for sure. But the scuba spearfishing is what definitely 100%. You should drop down to 200 feet, shoot 100-pound AJs. I think we won one of the tournaments around here for like a 98.4 pounder or something like that back in like, I don't know, 2010.
200 feet you went down?
Yeah, so we were at 185 feet, I think, when my buddy pulled the trigger. So that's what.
What's your time?
Not fun. I don't want to be tied to a 200-pound reef donkey.
And
what's your time on bottom at that level?
It's not. It's not.
10
so
minutes?
like, it's actually unethical, I think, is what most people would tell you in the diving world. You know, there are a couple crazy bastards around here that do it. You know, for sure. Yeah. And I would say, so that's another reason I got into free diving, because you don't have the risk of like the bends and things like that when you're free diving versus the scuba spearfishing. And the way I'm an extremist. Anything I do, I take to the max. Like, I'm very competitive. You could ask any of my friends. We all crap talk each other on all the fishing trips. But I take it to the max, and it was just like, it's always like, hey, what's another? I was fine last time at 203 feet. I was fine at 205, 207, 209, 211.
That's a crazy place to start pushing.
It is. That's right. But they call it the 2-foot syndrome, you know, with boats and stuff. But it's always like, hey, I was fine last time I did it. So it was always me taking it to the next level, and then just realize I needed to kind of
pull that back.
A little bit.
Or get you one in dive bells.
I'm sure y'all have heard of like the Deepwater Mafia Club and like the Helldiver Club. But like some of the guys dive down to like 265, 285 feet. I'm pretty sure some of the guys have been over 300 feet before. And
what is the limit?
60 feet.
No. I mean, what is the body's limit without wearing a specialized pressurized suit?
That's a good question. I don't know. You know, there's free divers.
So somebody blows up.
That's right. Well, you know, there's free divers.
Implodes.
There's free divers that have been down to 600 to 900 feet before, you know, and that's with just a wetsuit on. So, I mean,
Jesus Christ.
It is crazy. And that goes into like a whole nother thing. So like, and I'll get into like that now. So, because I got into the scuba, the spearfishing, and then these guys want to start. I was hearing about these guys shooting yellowfin tuna and stuff off of the shrimp boats and stuff out of here, out of Louisiana. I'm sure everybody's heard of it now. It's kind of a very popular thing.
God damn, I thought you were wrong. I just Googled it.
Right.
831 feet.
Right. No,
I thought you were way off.
No.
I didn't even know the human body could go that deep. I thought 300, 400 would have been like.
Ask my girlfriend. I know everything. Yeah. So that's what. And
my wife says the same thing about me.
He's right again.
I'm going to clip this and send it to her so she knows that I'm wrong every now and again.
Yeah. So, but no, it's crazy what the human body can do. So when I got into the free diving, these guys were shooting these yellowfin tunas and stuff and these wahoos. That was the other thing, was wahoos.
Yeah,
that was
speed demons.
But it's more of a stealthy approach. So they're a little bit more of a finicky fish, like a speckled trout to me. That's kind of why I've kind of got into that whole realm now too. So that's why I got into free diving, because I want to start hunting these pelagics and stuff. Yeah. So
for the people who don't know, which might not be a lot, explain the difference between free diving and regular diving.
So scuba diving is obviously with it's a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. So I think is what it stands for. So technically I'm a nerd, but you put I'd say a 80 pounds aluminum tank on, give or take, and they pressurize with air, and you go down at depth, and you're actually able to breathe in and out at depth. So versus free diving, free diving, you take one breath of air and go down.
Yeah, that's.
And so the difference is like scuba diving, you have anywhere from 15 minutes at some of the depths I was talking about earlier versus like 30 to 40 minutes, you know. So the deeper you go, the more air you consume because of the way the pressure works. Right. So free diving, you take one deep breath there on the surface and you go down, and everything compresses with you. Wow. And as you come back up, everything uncompresses with you.
But I want to emphasize what he said. One breath.
One breath.
You can't take another breath. Once you're under the water.
You still have your wetsuit. You have your weights. You have all the same stuff besides the tank.
Fins.
Correct. So that's what I mean. That's actually kind of more. What I did like about it would be a little bit more raw. I didn't like wearing. I'd like a little bit more like kind of wet weight and stuff. Just like maybe a wetsuit or maybe just a top. Just a little small weight belt if you needed it. Sometimes you didn't. And just fins. It was when I went free diving, all I needed was mask, fins, and snorkel.
Really?
That's it. I can go anywhere in the world. I can mask, fins, and snorkel.
Now, how do you remember you personally on a free dive? What kind of depths you're talking?
So the deepest I've personally ever been is 103 feet with one breath.
Holy smokes.
Now this is strictly in a class, and I couldn't do this with like spearfishing. So there's what we call like working. There's a working depth. So my working depth's more like 60 to 80 feet. I would say. So obviously the more I dive down, the more oxygen I consume. So therefore, when you're only going down with one breath, everything's about being O2 conservative.
Correct.
So when you start getting into free diving, you actually kind of learn to slow down and
right.
This is the breathe. And it's all about, that's right. We had 100% woosah. That was kind of where the whole philosophy, you go to, you don't dive to look out, you dive to look within because everything was kind of.
Now, when you say slow down, you breathe in, do you mean at the surface level before you take that last big breath?
Correct. Okay. So you would normally breathe up for 3 to 5 minutes at a time. I have, you go through these classes, that teach you like in 2 days they can. So now I'll tell you in a free diving class, they have a Saturday and Sunday course. It's a 2-day class. And they actually teach you, they certify you to dive to 66 feet and hold your breath for 3 minutes. I had an 80% success rate in these classes. So, because I used to be a free diving instructor myself. Now I still have buddies.
Wait. You would explain the 80% because 20% is a big margin to be underwater. What do you mean by that?
No, so I couldn't guarantee you 3 minutes because everyone literally, I literally had a preacher from North Alabama that had one lung one time.
Yeah,
literally coming to the class. The dude had a 2-minute and 17-minute breathe up, and he dove down to like 43 feet or something like that.
All one lung. That's
pretty impressive, no doubt. He still did
like
better.
A one-legged man in an ass kicking contest, right?
Old Tink Tink.
Old Tink Tink. Yeah, he was double empty, wasn't he? If I remember right. But yeah, so you hyperventilate yourself?
That's the term you wouldn't want to use because that's actually because there are risks to free diving. They have what we call shallow water blackouts and stuff. Right. And it's where you get too O2 elevated and not. So there's a balance of O2 and CO2 in your body. We need them both to to live and breathe and so forth. So, but before you go down, you would like to O2 elevate and CO2 de-elevate, if that makes sense. You want to kind of imbalance those things, and it kind of goes through some what we call diaphragmatic breathing. Is what it's like yoga breathing, to be honest with you. It's very calm, relaxed breathing.
Gotcha.
And
big in, big out.
That's right. Yeah. And then so that you learn to breathe with the bottom third portion of your lungs. So the lower third portion of your lungs, there's a 2/3 more O2 exchange in a lower 1/3 part of your lungs.
But that takes the deep
that's
breath
right.
to get to.
Correct. Yeah. That's what. So it's just a whole the physiology side of it. You have what we call these alveoli in the bottom part of your lungs, which allow more O2 exchange. And then so there's little things like these. That's what you learn in the 2-day class. So a lot of little things with free diving add up is what it is. So, and it's a little bit more of a finesse sport for sure. There's no doubt about it. It's kind of like golfing in an extent.
Well, I think it's even more extreme than bow hunting. I think it's like a spear hunt. Like if you took a rock and threw it around and tried to hit a deer with it. That's what it sounds like because, you're jumping in the water, full gear, spear gun, not the best clarity here.
No, for sure. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, then you got 3 to 5 minutes to try to find a fish, shoot the fish.
So and that's why I don't think I ever finished that earlier. So I would say more of a average free dive working time would be like a minute to minute and a half.
Yeah. It's not very.
No, it's not long, but to be honest with you, it's different when you go down on one breath because I don't know, everything slows down. So, and you become, I don't know, it's like maybe the without all the bubbles and the extra tank and stuff, I feel like you can get a little closer to fish. And so that's the reason why I got into it. So we could hunt the wahoo and yellowfin and stuff around here.
Yeah.
And, so I got into all that. And about the time I got into that, I think I went on a trip with a guy out of the Hell Divers is what it was. And he had an underwater camera. And
out of Louisiana.
Yeah, I wish I had a picture of it. I wish I would have sent that to y'all. Because the camera's kind of cool. It actually, that's what got me into it. It was like, well, what the hell is this guy got? This is kind of cool. And he took a couple photos and he sent them to me afterwards. And it was like, I remember getting the feeling that I got of those photos were like, they're some of the best photos I've ever had in my entire life. And I don't so that's kind of what intrigued me with the underwater photography side of it. So, because that's where it led into next. It went from scuba diving into free diving. And then when I got into the free diving world a little bit, I met a buddy that had a camera, and the camera stuff intrigued me. So, because I bought a camera. I bought 2 cameras, that's what I upgraded like most people do, got into it, realized I didn't want to just dive. I wanted just a little bit.
You kind of bought a cheap one.
That's right. 100%. I bought a $1,000 one, then I bought a $5,000 one.
Right.
We've done it. And so, but when I got into that world, so it was just funny. One day, randomly, this guy, Neil Foster, calls me. And he goes, "Hey, man, I don't know if you know who I am," which I didn't, because once again, I've never pole fished hardly ever in my entire life at this point. I'm telling you, because you guys know me through the speckled trout, just wade fishing and stuff around here. But I never touched a pole until I was probably 24 years old.
Really?
I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, I think I was 24, 25. I was 26 when he called me. So anyways, I've never really touched a rod and reel until this point in my life. And anyway, so he calls me. I hear you take some photos. I got this boat. My name's Intense Pro Fishing is what he fishes on. Well, we fish on a contender. Is what it is now. But at the time, contender. That's right. We fish these, and that's right. This guy didn't let on to. I didn't know what he was talking about either at the time. I thought this guy was kind of crazy. Like, hey man, sure, whatever. I'll come hop on your boat, take some photos. No big deal.
You show up, you're like, uh-oh.
Show up with a big wrap. And
and I will say, he did ask me to come fish the Mississippi Billfish Classic. So
you knew,
I grew up, at like 12 years old at the top of the Golden Nugget parking garage, looking at these. I remember calling my dad one day. He's like, "What'd you do wrong in life, Dad?" I'm totally I feel bad about this conversation I have with my dad now. I'm like, I was like, man, I don't even think we could afford the ride, the line that goes on these rod reels.
You can't afford the buy-in.
Right.
Can't even get in there.
And we'll get into that a little bit too. I'll talk some numbers. I'll talk a little numbers with you. So.
I know it's crazy.
And so it was. So this guy asked me to be on the boat. Yeah, sure. I'll come hop on the boat with you. So I did. That's what. And of course, being on the boat after all these years now, I've had a few extra photographers come hop on the boat. And then I'll get into that. But yeah. But I did. I hopped on this dude's boat. We won first and second place. Wahoo. I think with like an 87 and like a 82 pounder or something like that year. And I take that back. It was a 75. It was a 75 and a 60, like 63 or something. So, but regardless, we took first and second place. And I just remember after helping them run spreads, reel the reels in, reel all the rod and reels. Hey, look, when you got 5 reels out and one reel goes off with a wahoo on it, you got to get the rest out. It's ASAP, before he tangles everything up and pulls the hook.
So he got you on the boat as a photographer, but you really wanted you as a poor man's deckhand.
No, yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. He just started barking commands and I jumped right in line. That's what. Hey, look, my dad's that's what my dad taught me. That's what how to be a workhorse. There's no doubt about it. I'm not scared of work. That's what anybody that knows me will tell you that. So. And but it was, he just started, reel this in. I was running I think 4 GoPros, a drone, and 2 other cameras in the background.
It's your brother sending me pictures.
Oh, damn.
We're trying to get that one. Yeah.
And so anyways, after this 3-day trip, he's like, "Look, man, guys really liked you. I think you're kind of a good luck charm. We won first and second place. It was the biggest check I think at the time he's ever won. It was like 112 grand or something like that. Oh, wow. Yeah. It was 112. Because I think we won one other check later on that was like 117 grand, which is the 2 biggest checks I think he's ever won. Mm-hmm. And but that was his claim to fame was wahoo though, so that's kind of where it led into the rest of it with the marlin fishing, because this guy didn't know anything about marlin fishing until 3 or 4 years ago, maybe about 3 years ago. And but we got into the wahoo fishing so much, and we ran that circuit, in the Northern Gulf with all these billfish classics, and it got to where they have all these Calcutta pots, they have
dolphin,
100%. They got
marlin,
Well, it got to where we go to these tournaments and nobody would bet on the wahoo, because we literally won. We would win first or second place wahoo every tournament for 5-6 years in a row. Yeah. And one year I think he won $260,000 just in catching wahoo.
He just had him dialed in,
and that's what's kind of funny. So his claim to fame was that he got into the SKA fishing years ago.
Right, with a king.
Yeah, king fishing, 100%. That's it. Look, that dude, he's a big 6'3", country, South Alabama, linebacker. This dude's huge. He's just and I really think his forearms are the size of my shoulders for the most part. He's a big old boy.
Old corn.
Corn-fed for sure. And but SKA fishing was his claim to fame. Way they started seeing the money and stuff these guys were making in these for the Wahoo and these marlin tournaments. So then that's where he kind of slipped on in there, because what they were doing, they were catching these Wahoos while they were kingfishing.
Yeah.
So
Kings, they run in the same pack.
That's right. I mean, they are. I mean, like there's about maybe 100-foot difference between the two species, give or take, and what you want to be like trying to fish for them in. Yeah. And but they definitely do. They definitely roll in the same territory a lot for sure. So
they're rocket ships.
Yeah. So I got on with him. We fished. I did the Wahoo circuit with him. I mean the Marlin circuit. That's right. But we got into the Wahoo stuff so good with that. Well, it got to where so these tournaments, they cost anywhere from, every tournament's different, but anywhere from 20 to 40 grand for my captain. So now these other guys, if they're going all in across every Calcutta, the tournament entry by itself is anywhere from like $5 grand or plus, you know? Right. And then you got to pay for each member after that. And then on top of that, you have to pay for all the Calcutta pots. So, because some of these people some people don't understand how some of this big money's really won, but it's in the Calcuttas. Yeah. I mean, that's where it's all at, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And you used to not be able to do Calcutta.
No, that's right. I mean,
Well,
so
you couldn't.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody did Calcuttas.
So explain a Calcutta for the people who don't know what that is.
So the Calcuttas is basically a side pot. So it's a whole separate category. There's a $500 Calcutta, $1,000 Calcutta, a $2,500, a $5 grand, and a $10 grand. Yeah. And each species at that. So every marlin, Wahoo, tuna, and mahi, they all get these 500, 1,000, 2,500, 5,000. So they all get 4 to 5 extra side pots per fish to bet across. Right. And to be in the 500, you got to bet 500. To be in the $5 grand, you got to bet $5 grand.
Right.
So that's where it adds up. Yeah. So some of these guys, you go through and add all these categories up, it's close to 90 grand or something like that. They're betting in Calcuttas, as where kind of the money is, to kind of put a dollar, to put a dollar amount on it to kind of fathom,
So if you just get in a tournament and don't get in the Calcuttas, your fish could be 80 pounds. And then the guy with the 40-pound
100%
got in the Calcutta. He's still winning money.
It has happened to us so many times that we have won more money in the Calcuttas than the main tournament. We're getting bigger checks than the guys in first, second, and third in the main money out of the Calcuttas than the guys in the main tournament.
Right.
For sure.
And from what I've been told, sports betting, fish betting wasn't allowed in Mississippi until they moved it in here.
That's right.
So if you had a Calcutta before that, it was hush hush.
Yeah,
nobody
brown bag money, wasn't it?
Yeah, brown bag. Yeah, and now it's on the table. Everybody can do it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But it's still unofficial from the tournament, correct?
No, it's still tied into.
No, it's not nowadays. It's tied in. 100% tied in with the tournament. I don't understand the logistics of it. I'm not the one betting the money. I mean, I'm not the guy that signs the checks.
I just show up and tie hooks.
Because I'm thinking, I guess what the old days was, right? Like they would have to weigh in. They would announce first place, second place, and all the prizes. But the Calcutta guys was over there amongst themselves divvying up, right?
I think it's all at the tournament. Hey, the tournament takes 10% of all the money turned in, like all the Calcutta money. They take 10% right off the top.
Okay.
So that's the way I understand it. Most tournaments.
Gotcha.
So the ones I'm referring to. Anyway.
Correct.
So
it's just out in the open now. You say hush hush.
That's right. I mean, I don't think anything's out in the hush hush anymore in 2020.
No,
that ain't
we let it roll. So you got on with him.
So we got on, and then we got
photographer.
As a photographer. One time. It was a one-time deal. He paid me one time $800. Is what it was.
Did he ever tell you where he found you?
Fred Salinas, actually. So which is another local photographer around here. If you've never heard of him, he's kind of in the billfish circuit too. But this guy, he took it was a guy that knew me through Facebook. Of all the things, because of the free diving and jumping around, just kind of I guess my claim to fame, the saltwater assassin, is what my name was on Instagram back. Just through all that kind of stuff through back in the day, this guy was like, man, I know the guy for you. Because this guy was looking for somebody to jump in the water and take photos. So, so Fred Salinas actually hooked me up with him, and just kind of was a one-time paid gig. Once he told me I was on, I didn't get paid anymore. I only got paid if we won anything. So, and then after that, so we got into all the Wahoo fishing and stuff like that. So I would say after 4 or 5 years or so of kind of running the Wahoo boards, I would say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hate to be cocky with it, but we'd win first.
Hey, if you got receipts.
No, it is. That's right. I mean, it is. So
y'all deboed everybody.
That's right. Literally got to, so that's kind of where I guess this was going. These tournaments would cost anywhere from 20 to 40 grand. Well, now to bet in the Wahoo Calcuttas, we won, I think he won, the last tournament, we won 18 grand in the Wahoo Calcuttas, which didn't even cover the tournament cost. The tournament cost was 32 grand.
Right.
I mean, this guy
it's
burns.
like walking up and be like, Tom Brady's here.
I mean, just to kind of.
I don't want to do this anymore.
It was.
Yeah.
So these guys, so that's kind of how competitive these guys would wait to. My captain would wait to the last minute. Like, so I think the cutoff time was what, like 8 p.m. You know, whatever. With the night before, the captain's going down 100%.
Sandbag.
Well, people would. They would. He'd put his name in, and people would automatically not put their money in anymore. You know.
Yeah, so he waited to the last possible second.
And he's like, I'm telling y'all gonna hate when I get into this marlin fishing. Y'all gonna force me. He would tell these guys all the time, you're gonna force me to get in these marlin fishing. You're gonna force me to get in the marlin fishing, and which is kind of funny. You know, flash forward 3-4 years now. You know, it's kind of a whole nother. They probably wish they kept putting their money in the water
just to buy him out. So strategically buy him, keep him in that tournament.
That little pot.
Yeah,
we want the marlin.
Just put the money up so he'll stay over there. We know we're going to lose him, but it's cheaper than to get him over here in this marlin.
I mean, I think the fuel bill on these tournaments. I mean, it's like we burn 1,200 gallons every trip, give or take. Yeah. You know, anywhere from 1,000 to I think the most we've ever burned is 1,500. So,
and y'all fish a center console, which is I hate to say this on a 44-foot contender,
right?
But it's a relatively smaller boat.
When you're sitting next to the 70 and 90 foot Viking or Hatteras that's full throttle next to you, blowing a 4 or 5 foot wake out the water, when you're all taking off in these blast off tournaments, it's definitely a small boat. I'm the same way. I hate to refer to the 44 footer as a small boat for sure.
Hey, everything is relative.
That's right.
Right? I mean,
for sure. And that's what I was just about to go into. We're talking about this guy on the boat I fish on and so forth. So what I started on a 39-foot contender with him is what I started on, which is not a small boat either. That was a dream boat of mine when I grew up.
Way bigger than what I got.
It's still a dream boat for sure. Yeah. So, but he's upgraded to a 44 over the years. He gets a brand new boat, brand new with quad 425 or 450s. Sorry, 450s this past year with the Yamahas. He's sponsored by Yamaha, Costa, Under Armour, Garmin, Night Track. All these companies. So don't feel bad for me on these. That's the problem when I come home from these 3-day marlin trips and stuff. I got work Monday morning at 7 a.m.
Right.
So, and I think I work right across the street from you guys
there.
These traffic signals that we were talking about.
Trey Dubuisson put a comment a minute ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll flash it up. He said the light on 57 and I-10 hasn't changed for 15 minutes. Can you hurry up?
You can call your local MDOT authority about that.
We got a couple more minutes on here.
Yeah. We still got stuff to cover. So no, go ahead. Keep going.
So, I don't know where we were at.
We're talking about the center consoles.
So just to kind of paint the picture. Now, I will tell you, we are roughing it out there compared to these other guys. I'll tell you, man, when it's so these tournaments, they're Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Right.
So I can tell you about night 2 or morning of day 3 when we're watching these guys troll around these rigs 200-300 miles offshore, and they're watching their football games, sipping on their cocktails, and literally their deckhands are just knocking on the door and letting them know when the fish hook up the whole time, and literally we probably just went through 11-hour rainstorm all night. We're sleeping on bean bags. It is. We are roughing it. I will say that we don't have hot water on the boat. So and the other thing is when there's no grill or anything like that, my captain's saying is fiberglass and fire don't mix 300 miles offshore.
That's true.
Hey, look, he's not. Hey, look, I will tell you,
I've done it.
Hey,
it ain't smart.
He's got him. He's got himself this far and hadn't been in any serious pinches. And I can tell you, 300 miles offshore, people don't even fathom what the I guess the realistic scenario of if you actually had to be
rescued,
at 300 miles offshore.
You ain't got a whole lot of time.
No, it's not. We're at best you're hoping one of these other boats see you. You're hoping you're somewhere near where another boats are. Hopefully an oil rig can hear you or something like that in the background. So, look, he's gotten us this far, so I'll keep listening to what he says. But them cold turkey sandwiches and stuff are definitely get old after time. Now, about 3 years ago, he got us some microwaves, so we're high class living now with microwaves. So get to warm our chicken wings up now.
Well, that was I guess I hate to say it, but I guess ever since Freeman and Contender came out with the bigger boats, you've seen a lot more of the center consoles competing in the big boat tournament.
And explain that a little bit. So we're the Joe Dirts of these tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be the correct term.
You're the semi-poor. We're the poor. Y'all are the semi-poor.
And again, for reference, people that are watching, this is a 44-foot center console. What boat?
Contender.
It's got a CV.
Not a cheap boat.
No, it's not. I think it's a $1.2 million boat. Right now, I think the value market's $1.2 or $1.3 million.
Semi-poor.
They're the poor guys in the tournament.
Compared to a 90-foot Viking, you are.
Correct.
No, 100%. So, and these guys, that's what we always tell them, hey, can you bag up some of that AC and send it our way over here, throw it in a bag for you? Hey, toss us some ice cream. That's always the ongoing joke with us out there. But what I will tell you, though, when you come in from these tournaments after 3 days, especially when you got a big fish on the boat, then these guys never thought they had to stress about us center consoles for a long time.
Yeah.
And but what these center consoles allow you to do is go faster, further,
go fast,
more fuel efficient.
Right.
Like we're able to go 2 to 3 times the further distance. Like I don't know the numbers on these Vikings, but like some of these guys are burning like 4,500 gallons an hour or something like that when they're running 40 to 50 knots.
And they got a whole bladder on the back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. They got 200 gallons on the back or 500 gallons on the back, but they're only able to go 200 miles and they got to refill or 250, give or take, maybe 300.
Which that's a long way.
No, it is. That is a long way.
That's a long way.
And you say that, and I used to think it was a long way too, until I got in this billfish tournament. So now these guys are driving. I mean, some of these people are going. I mean, we live in Mississippi. Some of these guys are driving 350, 400 miles, to go to these fishing grounds, and then they're trolling for another 100 miles of that. So, like, I mean, but what kind of? I mean, some of these guys are winning a couple of times a year too, though.
Right.
So I mean, it's big money, it's big risk, but it's big reward. Some of these guys are winning 350, $400,000 checks, to go burn 100 grand. So
this is the last billfish we went to with the big swordfish.
Yep.
Was it Dustin? With Jackson?
Yeah, Donnie Jackson.
Donnie Jackson.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, Donnie.
No. That's good.
Yeah.
He is. That's a good friend of Nils.
I mean,
so,
he rolled in with all them big boats, threw that big swordfish on the dock, and he walks around like,
hey,
I would have been doing the same thing.
Hey, we call it peacocking. So that's what you got to peacock a little bit.
We had him on the show and saw. I mean, he told a story of how he had to run all the way up to Venice and get fuel and come back.
He showed up. I think we were sitting because we're as intense pro fishing. We're known to be like the last person to check in. That's always like we run the furthest, we run the hardest, and we run and we do. It's always about. Every second the lure is in the water, you got a better chance of catching fish. Right. That's just how it is. Seconds turn into minutes turn into hours. Next thing you know, this guy, because he has a go fast boat, he can go further and we can go faster and we can come back faster. Yeah. He can fish for 7, 8, 10, 12 hours longer than these other boats can. Some of these boats have to come in Friday night, and have to start heading in because they're so far out.
Yeah, they're slow.
I mean, that's right. When you're only going 30 knots, you got to keep it. Say you only got 300-400 gallons left on the boat, you got to keep it fuel fishing. You can't just run and gun. So that's right. So you already have to back it down half speed because of that. And so you got to take all these other accounts into factor. We've literally run out of fuel in the pass. Like you have these check-in lines. Like we had the cannons.
Somebody come get me.
Man, we had it for the Alabama deep sea fishing rodeo one year. It was the biggest heartbreak ever, man. I'm not an Alabama guy. Look, I'm from Mississippi, but this is Alabama. Like the
that's
team,
but that's right.
But the team I fish on, they're a big Alabama. That's what they're known for. They're an Alabama like pro team, fishing team. And I'm the only Mississippi guy on the boat, to be honest with you. So it's just kind of funny. But that Alabama deep sea fishing rodeo, it's the largest fishing rodeo in the world. There's like 450 people that fish this rodeo. Right. But we had it all in the bag. Every first, second, third mackerel, we had first, second, third grouper, everything. So, but we literally showed up 8 seconds late. They blew the cannons on us as we're in the. But hey, that's the price you pay. Hey, that is it is rules. That is the price you pay when you go as far and as hard as we do. That is the price you pay if you don't make it back in time.
Yeah. In the comments we got, because I was wondering this myself, Captain Julian, Sunrise Sportfish, he said that the Coast Guard helicopters only got about 150-mile range. So when you were saying 200 to 300, I was thinking the only thing I can think of would be a helicopter to come out there and get you. That is
probably
twice the distance of what their range.
It'd be a rig helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. You're probably paying for one of those big birds, the big yellow rig helicopter. That's what they call them big birds out there. So he said that, and then JJ, who used I think, did you mention JJ earlier? Yeah. So JJ said his 72, he captains a 72-foot Viking, 230 gallons an hour when he's running at 90% engine load at 40 knots. But it's still a lot, I was doing wrong. I was off by like $4 grand, $3 grand maybe.
But still, though, I mean, that's a lot.
Because we're burning like anywhere from like
total trip is probably what you were talking about.
Total trip, they burn they can carry like 20,000 gallons.
JJ, help us out.
Yeah, but I say, no doubt. I mean, look, I don't run these boats, for sure. I mean, I'm hoping my captain gets a sport fisher one day, to be honest with you. Some AC out there would be nice.
He also said,
and a steak.
He also said that's a big hell no. He'll stay on the sporties.
And that's right. So that's what I was going to get at here. I never said that, but look, so some of the camaraderie and the respect you get, these guys know what it takes to be on a 40-foot container, like JJ being on these sport fishing stuff. You couldn't pay those guys to come hop on the boat with people. like, man, they think we're crazy. You know, we are. Like, that's literally what my captain told me. If you're going to fish on with us, like, you got to have a few nuts and bolts loose up top to fish.
Well, I
with
mean,
us,
what better way than roll into that video?
Oh, true.
Show the video.
Okay, let me pull it up.
This is y'all right here. They'll come up here earlier. But I mean, and y'all are in a pretty decent boat. The guy behind you is
maybe like a 30-footer, which hey, to us, that's a nice boat.
It's a big boat.
Like a 32-foot.
They are getting beat to pieces.
So hopefully, I don't know, the audio really doesn't matter now, but we're gonna play this clip real quick. So y'all check this out. Where is this at again? Do you
this is coming in from the ECBC 2 years ago.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, we talked about all the fuel economy and all that. That's on perfect weather.
That's
correct.
Never
it's never perfect weather.
Yeah. All right, let's fire this clip off real quick. Y'all take a look at this.
Yeah. 6, something like that.
Okay, we're back. And we're back. So I mean, that is not optimal.
No, it's.
I think that was 5 to 6 is that day, to be honest with you, which I've been in worse, you know, with him. Like, I never thought I would ever see a 15-foot wave in my entire life, but I have been in a 12 to 15-foot like storm with this guy before.
No,
so it is.
Fun.
It doesn't. Like, when you're looking up at the top of the rig, and then all of a sudden you're looking down at the bottom of the rig on the next wave, you know, it's just like, you're like, all right, maybe we should go in, guys.
Yeah. Well, that's what's crazy with these tournaments. It's not like a T-ball baseball game. They don't cancel because of rain. They don't cancel because of storms. They rock and roll.
And that's something I'll tell you. I don't think that's what the sport fisher guys don't like about us. We're ready to go at any point. So like, a lot of these guys coming in these center consoles are like the big SKA fishers and stuff from a few years ago.
Right. Y'all been beat to pieces.
That's right. If you know anything about SKA fishing,
y'all about 3 inches shorter than what y'all were.
JJ says 3K in fuel plus a bladder on the bow.
All right. Well, I'm way off of my numbers, man. I need to get better situated on those. That's for sure. So, but still, that's what. So, like, because he carries 750 in the deck, and then we carry 250 on the front and 250 on the back. So that's what we carry, anywhere from 150 to 250 on the extra bladder. So, and so we carry about 1,000 to 1,200. So, and
well, he's there at 3K. It's a way bigger boat, 72-foot Viking,
and of course, also it goes back to the range thing I was talking about earlier. You know, we are able to, so we're getting anywhere from like 0.7 to 1 miles to the gallon. You know, it just depends on how he's running.
The weather.
That's right, weather, how he's running, and everything else. So. And so we're able to go a little bit further for sure. So
you know who talking to him reminds me of is when we were covering like Nikki's tournament is Bull Minnow. They were the smaller boats.
No, but that is for sure. Hey, it's all about going the extra mile.
But they were winning. They were winning.
100% of them guys were winning. That's why they were running the covia tournaments right here for a while. Probably still are.
And a 24-foot baby.
Right. Yeah, it really did. We got it on video when they pulled, what was it? I forget how much it weighed, 90
almost 90 pounds.
Yeah,
so 90 pounds.
So that is the advantage of having these smaller go fast boats in a sense. You know, like, you know, we're the bass boats of these tournaments in a sense. You know, and I don't know. I mean, I think the fastest I've ever been on his boat is 81 mile an hour on his 39. And you know, now the 44 doesn't go quite as fast, but I've seen 78 on the 44.
That's screaming.
Hey, I could tell you there's a big difference between 50 and 60, and when you get to 70, it's a whole nother animal. So especially when a boat that size.
Yeah, but you also dive
everything starts doing this. I don't know why I'm shaking like that.
I don't. I'm made enough
bean bags, beer cans,
everything has to be tied down every time you take off.
I like it.
And then so we're able to go this extra mile in these tournaments and so forth. And I'm like, and that'll go back to like the tournament we won this past July. You know, I think we had a 647 pounder we won this past July. And like, so we were talking about this too. I think they're Starlink now. In the last 2 to 3 years, Starlink's become very big.
Oh yeah, baby. Elon's taking over.
Elon for life.
Right.
For sure,
right.
No doubt. So, and
JJ says once he's on grounds, once he's on grounds and fishing, his fuel burn is way low, like 3 to 8 gallons an hour.
Correct.
And that's where they make up for it.
Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt.
When they're running, they're sucking.
Look, that's a big. That's a lot of fiberglass you got moving the water.
A lot of weight.
We talked about that on the last show. Those motors don't go off.
No,
the entire time you're out there.
Nobody does.
Yeah, none of the motors go off.
And that's something too, I guess, that I really like about these tournaments. You know, I didn't realize what these outboards and boats and, you know, just all of them, all the different makes and models. Like, you really put them to the test during these tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And look, I don't blame, you know, some of these guys that are sponsored and so forth got a little bit more, get a little bit more, I guess get a little bit more edgy and so forth, because, we're jumping at the bullet. That's how we are, on our boat. So, we're looking to you only get 3 days, 2.5 days to fish. The blowout, the checkout times are usually like 10 to 11 p.m. or a.m. Sorry, a.m. And then you have to be back by 5 to 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Right.
So you have 2.5 days to fish. You have 2.5 days to get wherever you're going to go. And we're all trying to get to the holy grail, the holy Mecca. Everyone's trying to go the extra mile than anybody else. Right. And so just the effort that goes into some of this is kind of, for some of these teams and so forth. But
it's always crazy when you see these tournament boats for sale and all of a sudden they got like 1,500, 1,200 hours and you're thinking in your head like me, how in God's name
3 days.
did you get 1,200 hours on your boat, but you're running tournaments where you're keeping the motor on for 3 days straight.
That's right.
Yeah. So what do you mean 1,200 hours in a how much a time? That ain't that large of a number. Guys that run charter boats. This guy.
I know. I have 500 hours on my boat. I've had it for 3 years.
That boat sits on the trailer.
I go in the bay. You know what I'm saying? But think about how long that is.
No, it is. I mean, I think when he gets these motors, they got anywhere from like, I've seen the motors as low as 1.5 hours on them before by the time he gets them, but they usually have about 5 to 8 hours on them. They're kind of broken by the time we get them,
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I was going at with earlier. It's cool to see the we're told you got a 10-hour break-in period, 100-hour break-in, all these different break-in periods and so forth. But they're like to see what you can actually put these motors to the test. Like these motors that like on our boat, they hit $6,000 and they don't come off of $6,000 for like 6 or 7, 8 hours straight sometimes.
So that's
where I was getting. I guess that's where I was going with it. So we caught that 647-pound marlin this past July, and everyone's like, "Oh man, congrats!" We didn't know how big it was at first. We just knew it was a big fish and it was going to place. We were hoping it was first, but we knew it was going to be first or second. But everyone's like, "Oh man, congrats!" I'm like, "Man, it's not congrats yet. We're 350 miles from. It's 9 a.m. in the morning, Saturday morning, and we have to be back by 5.
Yeah.
And we are 350 miles from where we got to be.
You got a long ride.
I said there's 4 engines, 4 lower units,
Right.
That's all
4
it takes.
opportunities.
That's right. All it takes is 1 lower unit to go down. And we're not making the speed in the fuel economy. We got to be 100% anything.
Yeah.
And speaking of logs, I mean, I can't tell you, there's 3 or 4 times we've come through the Mississippi, crossing the river, crossed to the backside of Chandelier.
I hate it.
and at 2 different times, we've hit a log going like 60.
I know.
I mean, threw the motors up, threw 2 of the motors up,
Yeah.
like that. Captain put the motor back in gear. We heard some grinding. He said he's not going to take it back out before we get there because obviously it went into gear. So we're not going to tell you.
Right,
we're good.
Right.
So sure enough, dude, he gets the dock, takes it back out of gear to go put it reverse. That other one won't go back in out.
Right.
That's the gambles you pay, to go those kind of distances for sure. So, but it's cool to see these machines to do what they can do. Like we're told to baby them, that's what. But I'm gonna tell you right now, you ain't got to baby those Yamahas. That's what one of them in particular.
Cap Julian said the same thing. That's that Yamaha engineering.
Yamaha
hammers. JJ wants to know: do you have sonar on the 44 yet?
So no, we don't. So and I was gonna go into that a little bit. So that's what's really putting. We were talking about technology, Starlink, and all this other stuff, and the strike line maps. That's what's really putting these other guys aside in these marlin tournaments is the Omni sonars. And these Omni sonars are like, I think they come down, they telescope down to like underneath the boat, 5 to 6 feet is what they are, So I mean, give or take, So it's we're all used to sonar. So, but these things telescope, they telescope out underneath the boat. They go down 3 to 5 feet out, and these guys can see these marlin, and they can literally chase
pick which one you want. 100%. It's like a live scope for bass.
It's kind of like me spearfishing back in the day. It is like live scoping. Yeah, that is exactly what it's more like for sure. So like there'll be times that we're on these rigs and we don't have an Omni sonar, so we're just out there blind fishing is what we call it. Literally, there's a meme from I don't know, one of the Silent or something like that or whatever this TV show is, but it's like we're literally out there with a blindfold around our eyes, just like driving the boat, just like hoping a marlin hits one of our baits. While these guys are literally like they'll pull up next to us, they'll pull up within 15 minutes,
they're gone.
Make a scope. If they don't see anything within like 1,000 yards, they're gone.
And then you're just sitting there
wasting time.
You're like,
yep.
Well, I guess
we've been here for 6 hours.
I guess we wasted a lot of time.
Just one more hour. One more hour.
They might show up now that other boat left. Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Now, are they like looking at the screen? They're like nothing, small marlin. Oh, that's a submarine. Smaller marlin. We got nothing here.
No. So I will tell you, I've heard it takes a pretty good person to read the readings off of this Omni sonar for sure.
Right.
Nobody can just do it, but I mean, now I call it YouTube University.
Right.
You can do anything.
You really can.
Change your oil, find a marlin,
with a little
any of
time,
that
a little
stuff.
time investment into it. But now the time to do it's not in one of these, in a $100,000 marlin.
No,
So when when there's
JJ said it's a game changer, you'll love it.
Oh, I'm sure.
What's the price tag on that, JJ? You know, do you have any clue?
A bunch.
A lot.
I think 40 to 50, but I'll let him. He's been more
Yeah,
active.
yeah, right.
We'll let him.
Relatively speaking, that's not crazy expensive
not,
for
because
what we're talking
some
about.
of these guys went from having like these 4 to 5 catch and release ratios to having some of these guys are getting 12 to 15 in a tournament now on like these sailfish and white marlin, all these other
Yeah, well,
fish.
you should see them.
And those tag
100%.
tournaments, those come in handy.
No, 100%.
Well,
So it's just time is money. That's all there is about it.
Yeah.
Why waste your time like us? We're trolling around a rig for 6 hours.
With
And there's nothing there. We
Right.
don't know that. But also, I guess it's kind of isn't that part of fishing is the ingenuity though, just the
Man, that's the debate that I like.
knowing just like knowing where to be at the right time, the gambles and the risk and everything else to go with it. Did you make the right, all the other little decisions and factors that go along the way?
Yeah.
That's what
I guess when there's that much money on the line,
obviously not, that's what
you want every tool you could have.
Yeah, but think about this.
But at the end of the day, it used to be Grandpa GPS.
No.
Hey, I know where the oyster reef is. I'm gonna go catch fish here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, because our great grandfathers and look at what we got. Like, when you're doing that out there, you don't have that sonar. You still got GPS though, right?
100%.
You still got a fish finder.
I don't know what we got. We got probably
a ton of shit.
Yeah, 300 grand in technology still.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so where do you draw the line on shit like that? I mean, unless you swim out there and stab it with a knife or a sharpened spear, you're using technology.
No, for sure. And then look, you're getting left behind if not,
Right.
That's kind of how. So the reason we don't have an Omni sonar yet, JJ, is because Contender will not warranty the hole if we cut. It takes like a 6 or 8 inch hole or something like that through the bottom. And I think it's actually, we don't already have enough amenities as it is on the boat.
Right.
We only have a microwave. We just got it 3 years ago. I think the microwave's got to go if we get the Omni sonar. It's got to go in the center console.
Too much voltage.
There's there's nowhere else for it to go. So there's only so much room in the boat. And so we actually talked about it. It's actually funny. I want to get Vincent to kind of come up with a breakaway bracket, with saltwater fabs. I think y'all had him on there. I've heard of some of these guys making these breakaway brackets that fold over the side with these Omni sonars, and we're kind of does that make us the Joe Dirt of these billfish tournaments?
Oh, bro, you got to lean into it. You got to lean into it. Yeah.
Vince is about to make a pile of money.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, you got to lean into that.
So they don't have to be through holes.
Yeah,
as long as they're just hanging off the boat.
But
I'd create a custom mullet for the back of the boat. You know what I mean? Like, lean into it.
So it is, but I don't know how big it. But I think when it telescopes down, I think it's 2.5 to 3 foot tall. Give or take, it's 30 to 36 inches tall. But whenever you need 3 to 5 feet out the bottom of the boat also to draft around for it to engage and do what it needs to do.
That's
of course,
JJ,
hole. You can correct me on this too.
That's a big, gigantic hole.
No, but it is. So
Contender.
Contender, Neil Foster's tried to say he's good old boys with Contender. He's tried to get him to do it, but so far the owner of Contender says he will not warranty the hole.
Well,
I think we're only about a 1 or 2. I'll be honest with you because we've been winning a little bit here lately. So that's what I feel like we're only about another year or two out maybe from maybe being grandfathered in, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe you can do a stern or something like that.
I'll be honest with you. Hey, with that
power pole, put it on a power pole.
Yep.
That's where Vincent comes in.
Yeah, just put it on a power pole.
And that's what I have heard of some people making a flip away, fold away bracket for it. It folds over the side. It comes over the back.
That's a big hole to be out 300
But it
miles.
really does. This Omni sonar really does change the game of things. These guys have literally we'll be sitting there and trolling for hours and hours, and this one boat pulls up to us last year and he's like, man, y'all got one sitting. He's licking your baits off the back of your baits right now. I'm looking at them. I'm we're all we've been sitting there, of course we're all on high alert the whole time. And so, but it's just it's even worse knowing they're there and they're not biting half the time, Timmy. It drives you even more insane because so these fish too, they have a high body. So marlin fishing, marlin in general, have a high body temp. So, and that's why they have to, we fish these circuits a lot of times. And when I'd be honest with you, I feel like we fish the worst time of the year, which is true. because of how hot the surface temperature is.
Yeah, they usually don't come up to the surface in the cold
correct.
weather. Yeah,
And they only come up and they do come up to the surface, but to eat bait and for very few.
Drop,
that's right. For like, and there's 1,000 factors that go into it. I mean, sometimes if the water temperature changes a degree, half a degree to a degree, it shuts them down, or that shuts the bait down. But this bait moves, I guess you got these updwellings and downdwellings and stuff, but this bait moves up and down and so forth. So these marlin only feed for like a certain window of the period of the time. So, and that's what these guys are doing with these Omni sonars. They're literally just dragging these baits around and just like fishing in front of these marlin the whole time and just keeping these baits literally just like waiting for it. So when the marlin fishes for 15 minutes out of the day, they got the bait in front of their face for 3 hours. But as soon as that marlin comes up, that's it. Yeah. That's all. It's a fit. It really is. Sometimes it's funny. Fish are funny. I don't know. They're finicky. You know, that's what some days it's the best bite of your life, no matter what you throw in the water. Hey, it could be something shiny and bubble gum.
So JJ said earlier on this comment, he said it takes time to learn the sonar he's talking about.
Yep.
Why the hell didn't JJ come with us today?
I agree.
I don't understand.
I agree.
Still? Yeah, he was at my house this morning. He picked his daughter up from my house this morning.
What an ass. He said they installed it on the new 82 that they're having built, that 82-foot Viking. He said he wants to say it's about 85,000 for the system. He said, but that's the newest Omni.
Yeah, that's right.
He said, I know Freeman is installing them now 3 to 4 foot under the hull.
Yeah.
He said,
somebody's doing it.
Yeah. He also says that he's followed fish for a couple hours with the sonar before he got it to bite.
That's what I'm getting at. So and that's the stuff that we don't see. We don't know to stay there for.
They'll just lead them and wait for them to turn on.
But also, on the contrary, we're fishing there for 6-7 hours. There's no fish there. I've heard these guys fishing there for 6, 7, 8 hours, and these fish don't bite the entire time.
Right. You're looking.
I've heard a guy sitting there for 2.5 days on the same rig because they're looking at a monster marlin. They're looking at an 800-pounder. So what are you better off? Are you better off making the decision to stay with the 800-pounder the whole time?
That'd be hard to leave.
There's no doubt about it.
Just swim down there and get him.
Yeah.
Or do you move to the next rig and try to find one that's eating? So because I don't know the eating periods on these guys. But they do. They have like anything. They have these select windows, and I think it's Mother Nature. It tells them when to eat. I'm not sure the pressures and everything else in the world.
They're not dumb. They're not dumb.
Well, speaking of marlin, let's play that other video. Real quick.
So this is a big one that y'all caught. Did y'all landed this one? Went
July,
first place?
Yeah, first place.
First place, yeah.
This is a 647-pounder.
All right, we're going to play a video real quick. Y'all check it. About 30 seconds?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It's like 15.
Let's check it out.
Back up! Back up! Back up! I got it. Oh, shit. Total bill. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. You got it.
I'm getting good video.
Got good video, Austin?
Oh, wow. That was cool, man. That was very, very cool.
So that was a big boy.
No, that's right.
So you're seeing it up there on the screen. You saw it there. So what did we describe it though? Where do you remember where that was?
Yeah,
what
so
tournament that was?
That was the Blue Marlin Grand and the wharf at Orange Beach.
Okay.
So
yeah. And how big was that fish y'all landed?
So that was the 647 pounds.
Okay.
Is what that one was. So and we did. So we won. I think was that second place. I think is what that one was.
Second place.
Yeah, I think it was second place.
That's not shabby.
So I'll tell you a little bit of a backdrop on that. So we caught that fish at 9 a.m. in the morning. This is the one I told you we still had to run about. I think it was like 327 miles to be exact. So is where we caught this fish at. And so, but anyways, we had a 327-mile ride back in. I said 9 hours. I think it's like 8 hours, 8.5 hours, something like that.
Is that getting it or is that?
That's getting it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was us getting it.
Okay.
So that's what we had enough fuel on the boat. We ran. We ran 50, 55 back.
Okay.
That was us.
Still getting it.
No, that's
Still
getting it for sure. So we didn't want to burn nothing up that trip. We had a little bit of time to spare. So, but which is not normal for us. Normally we're getting it. So
y'all usually pulling it a dock.
That's right.
Throwing stuff out of the box.
So but we did. So we get in. And I think we got beat in first place by 3.4 pounds. I think first place was like I think it was 650.3.
That's tough.
I think we were 64.7, something like that, something close. It was 650.1, but something close to like that. But so when you think you got a 647-pound marlin on the back,
nobody's
neck, I mean 3.5 pounds, 3.4 pounds,
right.
or whatever.
He's got a picture of it. Yeah.
I mean ounces. I mean that's what you turn in. Ounces turn into pounds for sure. But not. There's a few things we could have done differently, and I don't know if you got the photo or not, but
he's got y'all on the back deck with the fish right there.
There it is. That's
It'll
like a
come up
it's like
here.
a fisheye lens view of it. But that's still pretty
it
badass.
is. Yeah, it doesn't really.
As far as telling how big it is what I'm saying.
it doesn't. But it does. Hey, that's a 12. Hey, that boat right there is, I think, it's 12'6" wide. So,
God, dog.
and the bill folds up on the other side, and the tail's probably hanging off 12 inches.
So
off the
so
other
that
side,
wasn't a catch and release tournament.
No, also not. So,
Not with all that blood on the deck right
so
now.
my
And then
captain.
look,
we
I'll
don't-
show that. I'm assuming that's a still from the.
That's the big one. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm assuming
That's the fight that you just saw.
the video.
Yeah, that's a still.
from the
Yeah,
video?
that's a still
Okay.
from the video.
What
the
a
fight you
picture
just
right
saw,
there,
so.
ain't it?
And so Fred Salinas got these
God.
photos. So that's one thing I'll talk about a little bit too, I guess. So because I got hired on as a photographer for this guy, but then over 2 years or so, it kind of turned into like I don't know, a deckhand. I was a deckhand
Right.
position.
Mm-hmm.
they
Just
got rid
running
of
rides.
you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they got rid of you and hired Fred. And hired
yeah, that's
you on as
right.
a
They
deckhand.
yeah, that's right. So but Fred came in the last couple of years, and he comes on the boats, and dude, be honest with you, man, for anybody to come out there to just take photos and just like to get rained on and sit out in 100-degree heat and and not sleep at night
You
time.
gotta love it.
Oh, 100%. So, but this dude does. He comes in and takes awesome photos of us, the stuff we do sometimes for sure. So, and I don't know.
It's a hard thing to do. You got to really love it. You got to really be down with it.
No, it is. So, but I mean, so I guess we were talking about, we come in off these, they're 9.5 hour trips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's what I was talking about. Like ounces turn into pounds and stuff. So obviously there's a lot of things we could have done differently on that ride. And we could have, there's like not knowing it now, obviously you learn from, mistakes and experience, but
Don't let it dry out.
it is. So you put we've always been people put wet towels and stuff on top of them.
Yeah.
So, and we did that.
I mean, there ain't no fish bag that
No,
big.
there's
you have
not.
to have 3 or 4 of them to put it in
And
there.
I don't know, maybe 3.4 pounds wouldn't
Yeah,
ooze out of them.
it sounds like a lot, but then you think about a fighter when they cut down weight, they can lose 10, 15.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe
I mean,
10 at least,
So
I think.
when y'all got to the boat,
Sweat.
gaffed it, then tail wrapped
That's
it.
right. We did. We gaffed it. We probably didn't even need to. This thing was so
Dead.
fatigued
Yeah.
at this point. It was only like an hour and 15-minute fight. It really wasn't that long, to be honest with you. It lasted way shorter than we ever thought it would. The way it got hooked, though, these things are crazy when they come in and fight. So there's no doubt about it. So they go crazy. They go ape shit. They just jump all over the place. And so, but this thing like wrapped itself around the bill, which came around the backside of the dorsal also. So the whole time it was fighting itself, it was like
suffocated.
wanting to like roll over the whole
So
time.
it hooked itself, but then tangled itself?
Tangled itself around the bill and then came back around the backside of the dorsal. And so the whole time we're like trying to hand line it and pull it in. And, when we got close, like every time we're like, we don't know. We're going to gaff it. The guy's pulling on it. I'm going to gaff it. And the back's just like rolling. Over.
You're like, what's going
on?
on?
Yeah. I'm getting yelled at. It's like, gaff it. And I'm all like, I don't know what to do.
Already stuck it 3 times.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty kick-ass.
Well, that gets crazy in the back of that boat.
100%.
Because you kind of wear the same headset we have.
Yeah.
You're talking with the captain. You're talking with the other deckhand.
So I would tell you, it takes about, maybe you could do it with 4, but it takes about 5 people to marlin fish, give or take. It's definitely a team sport, a team effort. So, I mean, my captain will tell you, he couldn't do it without some of us on the boat for sure. He'll probably tell you otherwise. I'm pretty sure he's ran 5 rides, caught 100 fish. He's done half the tournaments by himself.
I can draw the boat, got the fish, and
in
catch
the
it.
snow 3 ways, and
in the comments here, going back to what we were talking about earlier, JJ threw one at us again on the sonar. Going back to the sonar, he said it really depends on the bait. Talking about watching fish on the sonar for a while that won't eat. He said it really depends on the bait and what he's seeing, if he'll leave or stay. He said, plus he thinks with all the sonar pinging, it may mess with the bite. He said he don't hang around too long if there's a bunch of boats in his area. Fat girls ride free.
Well, and that's right.
Fat girls ride free.
And that's kind of our saying with it, because I do feel that way. Sometimes, man, you got to think. I mean, you ever put your head underneath the boat with a normal sonar on it?
Mm-mm.
I mean, you hear the clicking and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like it's just a
Constant. Yeah.
So I've heard these guys down in Venice and stuff, like that was something they figured out when they were catching bait in the morning time before they went tuna fishing. They were catching these pokies, and of course technology came along, and they weren't catching as much pokies and stuff in the morning time when they were throwing these cast nets. And to kind of find out, it was the sonars. Actually, it was the clicking of the sonars that was pushing this pokey down. And so they were like, "Hey, retard, turn your sonar off." And so they turn the sonars and stuff off.
Came back to the top.
All the pokies and stuff start flipping back on the top again.
Yeah, animals are funny, man. I mean, they'll pick up on stuff like that.
I mean, hey, that's how high frequencies. I mean, hey, if I can hear it, I know they can hear it. That's for sure.
And a poge's not a very smart fish.
No, but when it comes to living or dying, they figure things out.
But we say the same thing about all these, because we do feel that way, not having Omni sonar in our boat. Of course, we're looking for any reason not get not spend 85 grand.
85 G's a lick.
Yeah, it ain't us, man. We don't have Omni sonar. It ain't our fault.
We ain't worried about that. We real
but it is. But sometimes you do, man. You'll get some of these. I'd say anywhere from 8 to 12 sport fishers, come and beating the block down on these boats. I mean, on these rigs, and we saw bait, or we saw the a marlin jumping out the water, skying some bait and stuff earlier. Saw some signs, and then all of a sudden, because of I guess networking, I guess if you want to say, hey, we caught this, or we see this over here.
That's
hey, look, it is. It's full. Hey, look, you see one boat pull up, next thing you know, it's 3 or 4 boats, because they're all talking. That's what they're all kind of helping each other out and so forth. Because it is a little bit of a team sport too, when it comes to some of that stuff.
But it's who's seen me wrong. It's kind of like WWF and WCW.
Very clicky, very clicky. I feel like obviously I've never met JJ before. We fish each other. We've probably been fishing against each other for the past 7-8 years.
JJ's WCW.
WWE.
No, WWF.
Okay.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, they changed it up.
But it's funny how technology has changed the game.
Yep. Hey, when you got that much money on the line, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hey, why not use the tools that are given to you? I don't blame that.
Well,
I mean, I don't.
A lot of these guys, I would say all of these guys have big pocketbooks to fish this type.
Every
of way.
one of them. I mean, they even fish in this tournament. I mean, I've heard of a couple. like I think Kendall saw them on the 27-foot Kraken back in the day or whatnot. The 27-foot conch. I think they caught was it like a 93, 97-pound wahoo. I mean, that's about as small as it gets.
Right.
That's not common.
And you got to think. Would you say the buy-ins were? I mean, you still got to put that up.
No, for sure. I mean, you're spending. I mean, it's $5,000 minimum, period, plus all your other costs. So, I mean, you're probably talking about close to $10,000.
$10,000,
and then you're talking about fuel.
Right.
So I mean, like for us, the cost of these tournaments for us are anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 minimum. Anywhere average. I've seen them spend more. Because of Calcuttas and stuff, but $25,000 to $35,000 minimum to fish one of these.
And then if you're gonna do something like that and know you're in a 20, whatever you said, 7 foot 4, whatever, versus guys in like 92s, 82s, 74, 72, 44, like
but that 27 only fishes one tournament.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No,
that's what I'm saying, though. That's
you
what
got
I mean.
people like JJ and them doing the whole tours.
It's a big risk. It's a big risk.
No, it is.
What do you with all this technology and all this stuff that's coming up? Of course, more fish are getting caught. We talked about the conservation earlier.
Yep.
Have you seen that play a part in any of that? You talk about the swordfish that would have never been caught years ago. You talk about the marlin that would have never been caught years ago.
In the marlin fishing, I'm new to it. I've only been doing the marlin fishing for 4 or 5 years now. So I'm very new to it in the aspect of it. So, but it's the same thing you hear everywhere else. It was always better 20, 30 years ago. You hear all the old stories. You hear about all the golden days. And we used to go out there and catch 12 of them, kill 4 of them. That's what, weigh them high. It's just I feel like you get the same feedback. So now a lot of it's like, where's the bait going? I think I've heard a lot in the last year to 2 years. I've heard the guys in the marlin world speculate where all the blackfin's going, because that's the bait offshore. That's the bait. Is blackfin. Right. So when you're 100 to 300 miles offshore, blackfin is the prime.
The bait of choice.
Yep. That's the protein. So, and then, and I think I've heard a decline in bonita and blackfin.
That's what I'm saying. Is it a trickle down effect?
That's just what I've heard. I have no facts to back any of that up. That's just obviously me being in these tournaments and fishing them and so forth. Also, there's a tournament every other weekend now. That's what there really is. So like, since I've gotten into it, I think just last year alone, there's 5 new marlin kill tournaments in the Northern Gulf. You know, that's just marlin fishing. Right. So that's no different than any of these other tournaments we have going on. Yeah. So,
JJ, you need to come in here next time, man.
He was at my house earlier.
What the hell's going on? He said he has every app running on his phone and Garmin, plus the sonar to even compete. He said, you read in the water too. Plus Starlink changed the game. You can get instant updates on Hilton. I don't know what that is, etc.
It's a map.
Okay. Yeah. Instant updates on Hilton. But at the end of the day, you still have to prepare and do the old school stuff.
Oh, no doubt.
So, just drive up here. You're 15 minutes away.
He's probably not worth it at this point. You should definitely.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not going to take away even these guys that have Omni sonar and everything else. Look, these guys are still going. Look, even though we're going another 100 miles than they are, these guys are still going 150, 200 miles offshore doing the things and, staying out there for 3 days and grinding. I don't want to take away from the guys from the sport fishing.
No.
Even though I don't have any AC and ice cream when I'm on the boat. So,
you can't hate them.
No, for sure. These guys are going way further. Everybody in these tournaments. And of course, that's the other thing. Cool. I was never a big tournament guy my whole life. I've always been competitive, with my friends and so forth. But literally, when you're in these marlin tournaments, I mean, because of the money that's on the line, these people in these tournaments have more money and more time to put into, like, they're paying teams to do this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So these guys have more time and money to put in this than anybody. And that's what me and my buddies talk about on the boat, the deckhands and stuff. It's cool to get against, It's not. It really is. I should.
Well, y'all are jumping in the big leagues. Y'all are jumping in the big leagues.
For me to be able to fish against these guys.
Right.
To even be able to say I compete with them, and even hang with them. The fact that they even when you're driving in on that 647 pounder, they just kind of give you the head nod. And you're like, hey,
I got your respect.
We in. Because we got trash talked a pretty good bit getting into it. Some of the guys like it, some of the guys don't. So.
Well, I mean, everybody's gonna turn their nose up.
Yeah, I mean.
Wait, what did he say? Hold on, I'm gonna read this. He said, "My hat's off to you guys on the center consoles. You need, y'all need wheelbarrows to tow your wheelbarrows." Okay, I bet he video voice text that. He said, "You need wheelbarrows to tow your nuts around."
But do you see more? Catch and release tag tournaments.
Over the last few years, for sure, the catch and release has gotten bigger and bigger, and even us, so that's something because we see it. That's where the money's going to, is the catch and release in these tournaments for sure. And it's for good reason. They're not catching these big fish like they used to. I mean, I think it wasn't uncommon in these billfish tournaments, like especially the Mississippi one. 800 pounders and stuff were very these 500 pounders, these 450 to 550
just
pounders.
Tag them, let them go.
Yeah, they weren't even these people weren't even killing fish like that, weighing them in back in the day.
Right.
They weren't even that small, So I don't think, I've heard one guy tell me back in the day, if it wasn't 700 pounds, they wouldn't even stick it, know? So.
But was your question? Are they doing more catch and release tournaments? At the marlin level,
you see that going too?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you do that to win? Is it then you don't go by weight anymore?
Well, you go by tag fish and you go by size. It would usually
have so many points. I don't know exactly. Yeah. So they
got a ruler on the side of the boat.
Okay, so
they measure it, you tag it, boom, you get a flag or whatever you want to put up, and then you get so many points for a tag fish in each category. So you go blue marlin, striped marlin, all that other stuff.
Because this is kind of my job on the boat now. So I'm not the photographer, but I am part of I got to have the GoPro. I usually have the headset on. I got to have the GoPro video of you got to get the species of the fish, which it could be a black, blue, or a white marlin. And then sailfish. And you get, I think 1 point. There's point systems for all these things. And blue marlin are what you get the highest points for. Right. So you get catch and release points for all this stuff, and then it all gets tallied up at the end of the tournament. And some of these guys are going out and catching, one white marlin, 2 or 3 sailfish, getting a couple points for those. And then they're catching 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue marlin, so they're racking up 15, 20, 30 points for these tournaments. And to be honest with you, they have what they call the, what's it? I'd be lying right now. It's the Blue Marlin Grand gives out it's a grand championship of all these tournaments. This Northern Gulf circuit, adds up to all these points. And so, but the last few years, that's what's been winning this trophy is the tag fish, the catch and release fish, because they're getting so many more points than the kill fish. And you get a lot of points for what we call a kill fish.
Right.
I don't
bring it to the dock.
That's right. You bring it in, and you get so many points for every pound it's over, and so forth. So you get more points for a kill fish. But if you can go throw up 7 to 15 fish, catch and release each tournament, well, that racks up points too. That's what a lot of points, to be honest with you, because that's what's been winning here lately.
And then it also makes the weigh-ins more fun when you bring actual fish.
Yeah, 100%. So that's what we talk about with the kill fish stuff. Nobody comes to the dock to watch the catch and release videos. And so forth. That's not. Obviously, that's not what drew me into the back of the Nugget as a little kid back in the day. And I tell you, these fish weighed up.
Whether you talk about the Billfish Classic or the deep sea fishing rodeo back in the day, like as a kid, I remember going to deep sea fishing rodeo, and that was like going to a dang, like a the zoo or something. You're seeing creatures
that was a
as a
family
kid.
event every year.
Man, but I mean, I just remember looking at sharks and the
Stingray.
right there. You know, it'd blow your mind.
Yep. Look, when you're sitting at you can't fathom what one of these 650-pound fish look like if you sit next to it. You know, the eyeball on them alone, you know, I don't know, that big around. So.
And not to mention for people, I've never fished like what you're talking about, but I've been out there, 90 miles out or whatever. It's a whole different world. Like you realize real quick that this is not your turf. This is not where you're designed to be.
You're not wanted here.
If anything happens, you are not at the top of the food chain.
You're self-reliant at that point. You really are. You're really hoping you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. You're really sitting it. That's what we like. It's full sense.
Full sense.
Get your e-purb. Get your
y'all carry one on the boat.
POV.
Carry one on the boat.
We do carry an e-purb on the boat.
Okay.
That's when you're going.
To
be honest with you, me going to Chandelier, I should have one.
Correct.
I got a Garmin InReach. I do have that to hit SOS buttons and stuff with. But I should have an e-purb. Even as much as I go and late as I go at night and driving at nighttime and everything else, I should have one as well. But shit's getting serious when they bring a lifeboat on the boat. When somebody shows up with an inflatable lifeboat, you're like,
handheld,
Well, they're supposed to have them, right?
Maybe the big boats, but
I think even the center consoles are supposed to. Y'all aren't supposed to have them.
Don't get me lying.
But if there's a lifeboat, something's getting real.
That's right. That's what you go.
Now, how many tournaments like this are you fishing a year?
So I fish anywhere from 5 to 7 a year.
Damn, that's a lot.
No,
sounds like a lot. Because it's not your full time gig.
No, it's not. So and we do all these tournaments between like June and July. Every one of them, like maybe the last week of March.
5 to 7 between June and July.
So June usually it's like back to back to back. My girlfriend hates me. She's a teacher. She's a teacher. So what?
Oh, she's off in her
she's off all summer. Like she loves coming to the tournaments, but like she hates that I'm like I am full time tournament fishing.
She's at the pool drinking beer at the Hard Rock.
So, but it is so. But like I fish back to back. So like look, and that's the other thing. Like the tournaments from Thursday to Saturday, and then if you win, you got to stay Sunday for the award ceremonies, and then you got to
check.
We got to get that's right. We got to do all the whole look, and it's all fun. Like if you win, you want to stay for all that. But look, I still got to be at work at 7 a.m. on Monday morning.
Right.
So it is,
and you got to get the boat back, clean it.
Look, I will tell you right now, everybody on the intense pro fishing are blue collar workers. Every one of us. So it takes every ounce of effort to take off and do these tournaments for these 5 to 7
love it a game, baby.
It is. We love it.
Getting to the dock gets the time to turn around and go to work.
It is. Yeah. And you're so exhausted. Nobody has pity for you when you've been fishing on a $1.3 million boat all weekend, marlin tournament. So,
right.
And, but it is so, but it is we go over there, I would say so a lot of these tournaments are back to back in the June weekend, the June months of the weekend. Right. So, and we do, and we unload that boat and load that boat up for every tournament.
I don't know what that was.
What the heck was that?
Oh,
anyway, maybe
so. Yeah, who knows?
And it's hot as the devil's armpit. All day long.
We're going over there. We got to go load the boat up. We got to go pack it down with ice. We all wake up the next morning, meet up there. We head out. We fill it up with fuel, fill the fuel bladders up sometimes, and then we head to the tournament, check in, do the captain's weigh-in, check out the next day, head out, and then we fish for 2.5 days. Come back Saturday evening, maybe go to the ceremony Sunday if we win, and then go back to this guy's house, unload this boat, clean the boat down. Ooh, you learn this boat from
that's the worst.
Everyone thinks the fun part's, the fun part's not over until you get back to the dock.
That's
and all
the
the
worst.
other stuff comes. It is.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of places that blood can hide on a 44-foot container.
And once that shit dries on there,
that's
the whole
for sure.
All the hatches, all the dang posts,
and that's all Sunday, and then we have a tournament again that Thursday. So come Tuesday,
and then you got to go to work.
That's right. Monday I go over there. Then Tuesday evening, Monday and Tuesday I go to work, and then Tuesday evening we go to this guy's, and we start it all over again.
Semi-poor.
Hey,
semi-poor.
That's right. So, and I will tell you though, the mental exhaustion that comes after, I would say about tournament 4 or 5 is when it starts to set in.
Well, when I jumped into the charter boat industry, everybody said once you start fishing for a living or fishing for a job, it changes.
That's right. It does change.
It does change, and you look at it totally different. Like I used to wake up in the morning like, ooh, I'll get to the dock for 20 minutes. Now I'm like, oh God.
We've said it on here before. That's why I have
anything that goes to work.
I have no interest in chartering I guess kind of how you do it. You're not paying your house note from charter.
No,
you just make a little extra here.
Sticking my toe in it.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that wouldn't be as bad, but I like Angie and all the. She's just the last one that I think of that we had on the show. But like all these guys that do it for a living, Kyle. I'm like, how do you not hate it? But they say they don't. I've not really met.
do they? I mean, is that? I mean,
Unless they don't want to admit it.
It's every job. Every job's got its pros and cons. You got its ups and downs. But I've heard some of these people that you've mentioned in the background, like literally talk about how they hate their job. That's what. But that was just.
But what I'm saying is, I could
hey.
absolutely understand it. Like anytime you do something every day and for a living and clients, right?
It's always having to please. You're a people pleaser at that point. You mean you really are. I mean, 100%. That's what you like to try to give the client a 5-star expectation, no matter if you can't make the fish bite, as a charter fisherman,
right? And that's the absolute worst when you don't.
And no doubt. I mean,
that's the most awkward thing you ever done.
It is, but
life.
also,
speaking of Kyle, I just noticed your hat.
Oh yeah, I had it on.
Kyle, I don't know if you're watching right now.
This was underneath like 3 shirts. I had no idea where it was at. I was like, oh, there it is.
There you go.
I just want to say I don't like Kyle Johnson right now. He just beat me in the heavy hitters tournament.
That's fine. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. Somebody tag him in the comments real quick.
So we'll dive into that a little bit too, just for a second. I mean, it's Chris Bush and them, Respect the Truth, and they put on a
y'all tag him in the comments.
Legit speckled trout tournament where it's a release, right?
Correct. So that's what I've liked about it. I don't do a lot of tournaments.
Oh, he's right here. He's already in there. He's already in the comments. I love it.
So I didn't do a lot of tournaments till the marlin fishing stuff. Because I don't really. It's a catch-22, I guess, because there's so much money on the line. But like, I'm not real big on I'm more of a controversist than I am. I guess what I call a red tide. What we call a red tide diver is what we call spearfishing back in the day. A red tide diver, everybody knows what a red tide is. Yeah. The auction, it comes out the water and
kill everything.
Dies. That's right. You kill. If it's brown, it's down. That's the red tide diver. So, and that's over the years, I've just learned to, I don't know. I don't want to be, I'm not a tree hugger. I like killing stuff.
Right.
I still kill fish, But like, that's the kind of the whole speckled truth motto is like, take what you need and release the rest. Everybody's got everyone has, it's called self-regulation. It's that simple. If I killed my limit of fish every time I went out, I'm not going to say there wouldn't be any more speckled trout out there, but if me and 100 other people like me did the same thing, well, then it all adds up.
You're 100% right. And we had those guys back on the Biloxi studio early.
I think that was the only show where all 4 of them were there live.
Yeah. And Kyle said he's been watching the whole time, so I appreciate that, Kyle. But no, they were the first guys. And again, like I said, we had them on early, but they mentioned that on that show, and it really kind of made me feel good about it as we were just getting into covering this stuff on the podcast. But like changing the mindset from the meat haul and the big photo. We said on here.
Look, I'm just as guilty of it. Coming in with the dock shots, the whole 9 yards. Hey, look, hey, I promise you'll see me every now and again. If I go offshore, go to Chandelier somewhere and get me a 25, what's a 15-person limit?
Yeah,
now, right? That's right. Can't do the 25 no more. That's the day of the pass. So.
Right.
And but I'm still just as guilty of it. I do it once or twice a year. I do my meat hauls, but then after that,
if you're trying to stock your freezer and you're gonna keep it, you're gonna cook it later.
It's just self-regulation. It's that simple. If you go out more than the average person, or if you have more of a need than the average person, then you just keep what you need and release the rest.
That's right. But
whatever your need is.
Those guys were the first ones that I heard that we talked to and
that were pushing confirmation.
Promoted. Hey, take the picture if you can and let it go. Or get that good photo, but you don't have to kill every one of them. Put them on the bow of the boat.
And I don't know. I believe in karma. There's good and bad yang. I don't know what goes around comes around, and that's kind of and that's what some people will tell you. I guess when you're fishing next to me with the speckled trout and stuff like that, because I like big speckled trout. Like I do everything. I feel like I spearfish, the marlin fishing, everything else. There's something about a yellowmouth that just drives me crazy. Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. So they're one of the most tricky but yet fun fish you could ever fight 100%. In your entire life.
Yeah. Last ones we caught were with Julian.
Yes, and what a good time that was.
And Chandelier
he put us on them too, man.
Chandelier is a different place, man. If you haven't experienced it,
it's magical.
You need to do it.
It is. That's what I used to go out there to disconnect to, with the Starlink. I think that's actually exactly how y'all did y'all's
podcast. We did a day podcast on the way back home, so we didn't disconnect a whole lot.
I think we need to get Guinness out here and see. We might have been the first ones at Chandelier for a live podcast.
Can we call Julian out right now? Can we do another speckled trout like podcast? We go fishing.
I'm ready. All we gotta do is book it.
Wait on me. You walking back with Julian? Let's go, bro. Let's get it on.
I think he's got some dates. We'll do it, man. That was a damn good time. If y'all are listening to this and haven't been out there and done that shit with him, the Macy Ann is. I fell in love with that boat when I first saw the pictures, and then when we went on it, man, I was like, this thing is fine.
Cool story. I'm sure he talked about it. I know he did. When y'all were on it, but man, and look, I did very little to help that creation come to life. Julian did it all. I'm not going to discredit from any of that.
Right,
But
right.
regardless, if you saw where that thing came from,
Oh,
and then
I
what
heard it was
got
bad.
to,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the befores and afters, and all the hard work that got put into it,
Yeah.
every detail. You know, the chandelier map with everything
yes.
poured inside the island.
He's got LED,
it's
colored
like,
LED
dude,
lights
like,
in
he
there.
did a very good job with it. So,
Yeah.
but this boat goes offshore for, what they go 3-4 days at a time, 2.5.
Yeah, I think we did 2 just because it was a short trip and the weather was coming in.
No, he would have stayed. Remember?
Yeah,
we were like, we caught enough. We're good.
Yeah,
let's
good.
slow
Yeah,
putt in.
that's right.
Let's go. We were having a good time.
That's right. So, but it is, you go 3-4 days offshore, go fishing with your buddies. He's got 4 little skiffs that go on top that you kind of just go skip brigading around. That's
he cooked some amazing steaks. We had bourbon all over the boat. I mean,
I think the saying is they can't control the bite, but they control the appetite.
That's
Is that
right.
the saying?
That's
Is that the
right.
saying
Oh,
out
yeah.
there?
No,
The
yeah.
food's killer.
Dude,
I've never had bad food.
No, not at all. And we went and swung by the Pelican, hung out with those guys for a little while. What is some fly fishing, redfish fly fishing guys were out there from?
Yeah, there was a group from Texas.
Probably Texas.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah,
And most of them
yeah.
are coming from Texas to come to Chandelier.
Yeah, it's a fly. They were fly fishing though, right?
Yeah, for sure. Fly fishing
fishing.
has definitely become a lot bigger around here.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't done it yet. I own one. I've yet to throw it. I've owned it for like 8 years. If
I've only
that
done
tells you
freshwater.
anything. So
Eli was still out there,
Yep.
and I think he's transitioned back to the dry land.
he was telling us that when we were out there.
That's a fishy little guy.
He is.
That is a fishy
That
little
dude is a
right
fishy
there.
guy, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Killer stuff.
Well, dude, I don't know, man. I knew this was going to be a good one. This was a damn good one. It feels good to kick 25 off talking in depth about marlin and tournament fishing.
Yeah.
What's the next thing you got coming up as far as when we didn't even? We touched just a little bit on the photography side of things, and you getting the cameras. Like, touch on that real quick before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I will. So, I started this thing called Powell Photography and Freediving. It's just kind of what I wrapped up. I got into like freediving instructing and photography. And you can check it out on Facebook. I got a Facebook page with it. I don't do anything with it anymore. It is still cool to look at. My Instagram, saltwater_assassin. If you want to go check it out, that's where a lot of my photography and like the spearfishing stuff is over the years. But it is. I've done some cool stuff and met some cool people with it over the years for sure. I got like some American flag and like underwater stuff, a lot of dead fish. That's where a lot of it is.
I sent those ones that he sent to the email. I don't know if you had time to rip those
yeah,
down.
it might take me too long.
Yeah, that's fine. So, but no, it is. So, but like that's something I kind of learned over the years too. People didn't pay for prints of dead fish. That's what you didn't. Something I got 1 or 2 that look cool. You may pay for, but the rest of you don't. Like most people aren't trying to hang up a big bloody dead fish in their house. So,
right.
Yeah.
So it was really more memorabilia for my.
Trevor in the comments says, "Get Austin to chug a beer and he'll tip 1,000 stars on the show."
He's only got to have a beer
Yeah,
left.
he's
I'm
only
sure he
gotta
can
have
chug that.
I would literally shotgun a beer right now. If I had a
Yeah.
Well, we are live on camera, so we don't want to incriminate too much stuff. But Trevor, we appreciate.
There he goes, right there.
Oh shit! Well, that was a sip. That was a sip. We appreciate the enthusiasm, though, Trevor. And Julian said, "Let's go, man." He said he's ready to book another one. So
we'll go
that's
next
going to have to happen for sure.
It's that
Julian,
time of the year.
man, it was a highlight of my 24.
That's about it. Really is. Like if you've never done it, most people don't even know that. Like, like how many people live on the coast never even been to our island
Correct.
before? I talk to people all the time,
Powell.
and I hate to even keep promoting them because there's more and more people out there every year, which takes away from the whole. The wow, I guess the secluded feeling you get when you go out there.
Yep.
But regardless, if you've never done it, man, like our Great Barrier Islands that we have between Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana.
It's my happy place. I've said it on here 1,000 times.
I have heard people come from all around the world, go to our islands, and be like, this is literally one of the prettiest places I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Washington, Alaska. This is one of the prettiest places I've ever been.
Well, and
you get on Ship Island, Easton and Ship Island, Horn Island in the right time. It's almost as clear as Destiny.
Hey, like right now, I was out there 3 days ago. It is super clear out there right now. The wintertime's my favorite time. You know? So
I'm not a world traveler by any means, but I've been to a couple places. I've been to Cabo, beautiful down there. I've been to San Francisco, so that's on the West Coast. And the difference there is like on the Pacific, and then Cabo being Sea of Cortez, and then also the Pacific. But like the drop off on the beach, right? It gets so deep so quick.
It's like the Keys.
You can't really you don't see a lot of people down there just wading in the surf, right? That's something you go to Horn Island, Ship Island, even Chandelier, like you can hang out. You don't have like these big massive waves just busting on the beach all the time.
No, and that is something therapeutic. That's because that's what I do more than anything, is wade fishing. So, and that's very something therapeutic about it. When you catch it just right, when all the conditions are right, the weather's right, man. I mean, when the water's clear, and especially when you catch a couple fish mixed in there with it,
How many Portuguese man of wars you see?
Boy, a lot here lately. The last couple of days.
Holy
thousands.
moly.
I would say thousands. I mean, I've been off of my numbers a couple of times already, so hundreds, maybe hundreds. But
hey, you're a fisherman. If you're supposed to hit the number exact,
man, I'm bad about it. This is a 5-pound trout. This is a 5-pound trout.
Right.
So we went and we sunk that roach barge the other day.
Yep.
Caught snapper. When we were coming in, I have never seen this many Portuguese men of war in one spot.
And I guess
as soon it looked like plastic bags on top of the water as far as you could see.
And I guess with this heavy south wind, with this and then all of a sudden it flopped out the north here lately. But I'm telling you, you could have walked down Horn Island 3 days ago, and I mean, I could have picked up over 200.
It's unbelievable.
Just sitting on the shore.
Yeah.
So
tell with that.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Don't pick them up.
Dude, I did. I had a buddy get hit by one of those diving one time. I've always been told don't get hit by one. Have you ever seen somebody get hit by one before?
No. It looks like a fire.
I watched a grown man in the fetal position in the bow of the boat for 4 or 5 hours. He was doing everything but cry. And I think he cried. I'm gonna be honest.
I would have cried.
No, his eyes were sweating because it was hot.
I would have cried.
Yeah. No, it was bad. So and look, and I knew it was bad. We tried to take the water out of the we were like, hey man, I'll piss on you here if you want me to, anything.
I bet he was like, do it if it's gonna work.
He was like this close to it. But we were taking the motor, the water out we were putting the pisser line out the water out of the outboard engine. We were trying to put it in a water bottle, put it on his ear and so forth. But anyways, his ears swelled up to the size of my fist.
Is that where he got hit?
Yeah. Well, so we were diving, coming up and down, and he swam back up into one right inside of his head. So
I've been hit by the little regular ones, the little tiny red ones, and I know how bad that hurts.
That ain't nothing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to be in that boat.
I'm telling you right now, I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw it that day. I'm like, no one's ever told me it was that bad. Like, if I know it was that bad, I'd have treated those guys for a lot more respect.
Well, they can kill you if they hit you enough.
That's right. Yeah, if you get hit in, like I think, jumped in a pool of them or something like that, for sure. So they release venom. That's what for sure. So.
And the little plastic bag bubbles, not their normal.
No,
they swim.
So those guys are actually, they're not one organism. They're like 1,000 organisms, like 1,000 micro. Like the Portuguese man of wars in general, like 1,000 microorganisms, all like. They're like they're weird,
Kyle said he's gonna put one in your waders, and then Julian said they're pretty tasty in between two slices of bread with a little bit of peanut butter on top. Yeah. Julian, we're gonna take your word for that, sir.
Yeah, go ahead and eat all that.
Yeah, that's all you.
But I think they're just made of whatever God had left over.
Yeah, basically they just slapped it together. Yeah, here's all the worst shit ever. Here you go. So that's what. Good luck.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, dude, I knew this was going to be a good one. It was too, man. Way to kick off 25. Where can people? Do you do like post stuff for online for people to follow your tournaments and stuff, or do you just kind of keep it low key?
Man, I mean, I got a Facebook. Austin Powell on Facebook.
Okay.
The saltwater _ assassin on Instagram, and then. I mean, I do more on Snapchat more than anything nowadays, to be honest with you, because of the kind of going low key. It's like the Snapchat's a little bit more.
It's personal.
Yeah. It's like 100 people versus 3,000 people watching at a time, if that makes sense. So,
well, name your fishing team and name your business and all that stuff.
So the fishing team's Intense Pro Fishing. And then our company, I should say, it's a family-owned company. It's not mine. So, but it's Powell Construction Services. And be honest with you, you'll probably see me more Powell Construction Services on the side of the road, maintaining your local traffic lights more than anything.
Yeah, so, and that's the trucks. If you don't know, that's got the traffic light.
That's
on the side of the truck.
It is.
If you see him, honk at him, flip him off, do something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we usually that's what I tell about pissing everybody's Cheerios every morning.
Kyle says you got an OnlyFans too, so if they want to subscribe to that.
Only man.
I swear it's not a grinder. So.
So y'all start fishing June, July again, kick it back up.
I think this year. I think it's the last weekend in May. We got a tournament this year.
Okay.
So we start with
starting a little early.
So every year, kind of like what JJ was talking about earlier, there's, or what we were talking about, there's one more tournament, So, but I think we start the what's it called? The OBC is what it is. It's in Orange Beach. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That starts off into May, and then usually the Billfish Classic is our first big one, So that's usually what kickstarts the whole Billfish circuit in the year.
Yeah, that's June, right?
Yeah. First weekend.
Oh,
June.
Robbie and Bobby Carter.
Yeah, we'll probably have them on here talking about it.
Yep,
probably would be.
Yeah, he's been on here before.
They always support our tournaments. They're good people.
Sponsored our stuff
they are. for sure.
Yeah,
So-
I love it. So, all right, brother. Well, look, hey, we appreciate you stopping by this evening and
We'll
chatting
be
with us.
following you.
Yeah, yeah,
Sure.
no doubt. And thanks to everybody that watched on the live and on the replay, man. We're glad to be in here kicking off 2025. We got
Feel
a lot
like a new man.
Yeah,
I
new
might want
year.
to call Kendrick.
There you go. Get back in that gym.
Get on
yoked.
the gym.
That's
Get
it.
yoked up.
That's it. Well, look, if y'all keep tuning in, like I said, download the Brownwater Banter app. If you don't already have it, you can watch all our stuff right inside the app. We got a radio station on there too, as well. It's country music radio station, but you can stay connected to the show. We really appreciate y'all, man. We're looking forward to 25, and I think we did a good job kicking it off here today.
Right.
Y'all keep tuning in. We'll keep doing them.